Hey, it's Steve Wilmes and
Matt Kita.
And we're here with another episode of the Risk Control Show. Today, we're talking about training, online training, and really where you're getting it from, right? We see this push in the industry just to go online. I think it's great. We have 2 online training platforms.
Right.
I have had these for quite some time. We've built a lot of content for our clients out here in California, as we are based in California.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that really needs to be looked at, is where you are purchasing your content from. There's some big players out there that are coming in from the reinsurers and insurance carriers, and they're based on the opposite coast, the East Coast.
Yep.
And they're doing business with East Coast type vendors, and that's fine. I'm not trying to downplay that aspect, but what I want to focus in on here is that we have different regulations.
Yes.
We are a state-run OSHA state.
Right.
And CalOSHA exceeds a lot of federal regulations, a lot of other states. We kind of set the tempo for a lot of places. And what I see, and the biggest way to turn off, look, we don't have a whole lot of East Coast viewers on specific topics to California.
Right.
There's a reason for that.
Right.
It doesn't apply to them. But on general stuff, hey, our latex glove, we get a lot of views on what not to do with latex gloves. That can apply to moms, dads, any industry, anywhere, whatever.
Right.
That's great. That makes sense. But when you're doing training and your employees are seeing federal OSHA, CFR 10.20.821. They get lost. And the reason is because it doesn't apply to them.
Exactly. Why should they care?
Yeah. So here we are. We've been out here producing a lot of content for a very long time. Know what I'm talking about. We do work on the ground. Like Ohio is one of these states that has a lot of these, right? What do they got in Ohio?
They've got Hall of Fames. They've got the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
You know what Hall of Fames are for?
Well,
Retired. Okay. We're active. We're out here doing it every day. We know what your employees are facing. And, I'm a little like, hey, we get our brain picked for a lot of information. We provide a lot of information. We put a lot of stuff out here for free.
Right.
These organizations come in. They want to infiltrate the California landscape, and they want to train everybody. Well, tap us, because we know what's out there. We produce content.
Right.
We know what our people are looking for. When I was in charge of purchasing or looking at these type of systems for a bunch of school districts in the state of California, one of the biggest complaints that I always got was, hey, not California.
Right.
It's not California. We're not in Ohio.
Right.
We're not on the East Coast.
Right.
We're happy to work with anybody, and we're happy to provide the content, and we're happy to do that because our goal is to really keep employees safe. That's what we're out here for.
Yes.
Right. How that gets done is not as big a concern for me, but what it is that gets portrayed and sent out there, it should be relevant to them.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit there and watch that. I know the federal OSHA regulations. That's fine.
Right.
A lot of them are very similar, but it's not California.
Yeah.
It's not California. And the biggest thing is, like, Matt,
Yeah.
do you want to, how many hours ahead is the East Coast?
3.
Right. So that's good if it's before 2:00.
Right. If you need something on the fly, you're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who's going to come defend you?
Yeah.
Against OSHA?
Yeah.
And your training.
We always talk about that, right? Like if you're at your site and an inspector from CalOSHA walks in the door, do you want somebody on the phone, maybe not even available if it's at a certain time, and you're relying on them and their kind of general overall expertise? Or do you want someone who really knows California regulations, knows safety.
Well, do you want somebody
state.
that's been out to your site?
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
physically there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll, I'll even like the sanitation standard, for example, is one, and the OSHA inspector writes a general industry sanitation standard violation.
Right.
But when we're looking at it, this is actually an agricultural standard.
Right.
So the sanitation, having a physical bathroom there or having someone that's driving to a bathroom, they're two different things. Okay.
Right.
And so being able to explain that as it relates to CalOSHA, that CalOSHA standard isn't out on the East Coast.
Right.
It's not in the federal standard.
Right.
So, hey, go ahead and pay the $50,000 fine or rely on an expert like us
Right.
that knows and can go, hey, you wrote the wrong standard. You got to throw the whole citation out.
Right.
Right. And so that's what we do. We train to the specifics. We train to the environment. We train to your site. We've been out there. A lot of times we'll even use our clients' video, right? We'll go out and we'll take video of our client's site, their equipment. How impressive is that when you're an employee and you go, wow, they custom made this training. They actually know our site.
Right.
They know what we're dealing with. You know how irritating it is? Like, have you even get your what was I looking for on YouTube the other day? I'm not a I'm becoming more
You were on YouTube?
I was on YouTube, yeah, besides this. Yeah. I was looking for how to do I know what it was. What it was. A friend of mine was not feeling well.
Okay.
And so she stayed home on a Saturday. And she said, I'm borrowing this projector.
Okay.
Okay. I'm borrowing this projector and I'm gonna, it's wireless and I'm going to use my phone and I'm going to project my little movie and watch on this projector.
Right.
Okay. Because I don't have a TV in my room. I don't want to infect anybody in the house.
Right.
So all of a sudden I get the text. Do you know how to use this? Because I know you do a lot of work with projectors and all this because we're out training all the time. I said, sure. I said, what projector is it that you have?
Right.
So she tells me. So I go online because I need to get the manual for this thing, right?
Of course.
And no manual available for this specific model.
That's surprising. Usually every company has that stuff online.
I know, right?
Jeez.
But this model wasn't easily accessible.
Right.
I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
Of course.
But like every other model popped up. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, hey, press this button on the projector. You know, it should be so. Oh, that button's not on this projector. Okay. All right. So do this. Let's open up.
Right.
Let's open up the video call. Can you shine it on the projector? Can you shine? Okay. So now imagine that you got a forklift.
Right.
And you're going, the forklift that we're using has 3 control levers in the forklift for the video.
Right.
But my forklift has 5.
Right.
My aerial lift doesn't have that pictogram.
Right.
Okay. So now you're going, well, it doesn't apply to me.
Right.
And boom, guess what? You lost them.
Yes.
Right? Because you guys probably are like, why is he talking about a projector?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tune out.
Yeah.
Well, it's an illustrative point, and the point is that every time you go to do that training, like when we do training, when we talk about this, we lose people if they're not seeing their stuff.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If they're not looking at their policy. Right? Well, hey, my policy doesn't have that, so I don't care.
Right.
And I'm going to check this text message and I missed something.
Yeah, exactly. Now they're completely out. They're
Right.
not paying any attention whatsoever. Yeah.
And you see that federal OSHA and you go, pfft.
What do you care? Yeah. And also there's just things we talked, Steve mentioned it earlier. California has a way of kind of upping the ante,
Getting
on
under
things.
your skin.
They put they will take it next level with some of their regulations. And for instance, a great example I can think of just from the hazardous waste training we just did is the fact that California regulates oil.
Right.
And used oil, and the federal standard doesn't cover that. So if you are covering a general nationwide safety program, are you really going to have the expertise to properly handle how to work?
Are you going to hit San Francisco that won't even let you pour certain things down the sink in a science lab that you're going, but if I just neutralize it.
Right.
Like I can't pour household vinegar down the drain.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Right. Like what if you're a big shop that's working with oil all the time? You're
servicing your vehicles.
Yeah, you're serving your vehicles. You have a huge motor pool. You have a ton of oil, excess oil, and you have to find a way to deal with that. Well, that national carrier is not going to be able to tell you how to do that or what rules you need to follow. You need somebody who knows California regulations to do that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And so, yeah, you can grab training from elsewhere, but did they grab an expert from California who works in California, who knows California, who designs training, who understands that inside and out to write that for them and then review it and play it and do all those kinds of things. And most of the time the answer is no.
Yes.
You know, and
they're probably guessing.
Yeah. Well, they're just doing federal.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I'm not saying every single time, and I'm not saying every single provider. What I am saying, though, is that it's something you need to look into.
Yes.
I would rather you just come to us and we'll design it for you and put it out there and away you go.
Right.
You know, use our dollar training club and see, see the difference. I know there's a lot of things you're looking for. You know, you want easy tracking of your employees. You want everything in one system. You want it to be short, sweet, and to the point. You want it to look professional. But I can tell you, as someone that worked in a large JPA,
right,
with hundreds of clients, and I would run the stats on some of our training that was offered back then, and you would see 33% of the membership base took training. Right. Everyone that signed up for the online training, you know, only a small percentage actually went through it. Right. So if you're not going to utilize it, don't spend big bucks on it. And just because something's offered for free doesn't make it good, doesn't make it relevant, doesn't make it worth your time and effort to put out there. Right. Utilize something. Get some custom design training, right? That works. We do it extremely inexpensively.
Yes, we do.
And a lot of times we can take something that we do with one and we can, massage that into something else for someone else, and make those things happen. We just did a huge project, new hire orientation project for someone. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah. We went out on site, we filmed a lot of background footage, we filmed a lot of stuff, we used their actual policies. When those employees see that and having those individuals that are in charge of safety, health, legal, and all that, talking to them, and actually taking part in the safety itself, man, that makes a big impact, right? Yeah. It just elevates your game, right? Yeah. That you put that time and effort in there. We've done that out in Arizona too. Yes. Where we go out on site and film their specific processes, talk to them about their specific hazards. It takes a little more time to do. It's not just general, you buy it and you go. Right. But what's the impact? What's the value? Right.
Generates pride. It's and knowledge and feeling like, okay, when you see somebody's gone to the level of producing that kind of a training to bring you on board and get you really get the sense that if they care about you and to do that, they're going to care about you in other ways as well. Right. And like I said, it fosters pride as well, especially for some,
Speaking of that,
yes,
we have a client, and every training there's one guy in there, and he's a little bit older, I would say. Okay. And when I come to this, you're gonna be like, I know. You're right. Yeah. But every time the guy has a lot of questions, and I get where he's coming from. Okay. His questions sometimes are a little off track, right? But he's invested and he's listening.
Yes.
Right. His mind wanders a little, but a lot of times people kind of in the back of the room, they kind of roll their eyes. Oh, here he goes again. Right.
Right.
Then one day he won Employee of the Year. And you remember this? You know the guy I'm talking about?
Yes.
And he had pictures of him in a suit. Remember this? You know the guy. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, look at how good looking, cleaned up this guy is.
Didn't we say he looked like a real sharp older actor?
Yeah, he did.
I'm trying to remember the actor.
He looks like an actor that is now playing in The Old Man.
Yeah.
that series.
Yeah.
And you could see the pride that he had in this. And all of a sudden he became elevated. Why?
Yep.
Because he became the center of everybody's ambition.
Right.
That they wanted to become Employee of the Year.
Right.
And now, when he asks a lot of questions, guess what? We had nothing to do with the Employee of the Year, by the way.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But when he asks a lot of questions, now people are listening.
Yep. They're paying attention.
They're paying attention.
Yeah.
Because he does have a point to the question. You have to kind of filter through it to get to it.
Yeah.
Right? But someone said once that, and it's a very famous guy out of Canada.
Okay.
And he said, there is no stupid question. Hey, if you ask a stupid question, you're only stupid once. Once you get the answer to the question, you're no longer stupid in that area.
Right.
And that's what this guy's doing. Yeah. Right. But the point being is you get out there, you get on screen, your people get on screen, they enjoy it. It's something out of the unusual. It's something out of the ordinary, out of the usual day-to-day business. And now they're part of this program. We talked about it in our safety committee video where, what's the point of you doing all this? Well, that's the way you do it.
Right.
What else you got, Matt? Nothing?
Nah, that's, I think we've hit the good points right there. And basically, just to bring us back to where we were originally, if you're going to be faced up with California rules, California laws, then you really need that local expertise. And we're here for you. We're not going to be a voice on the phone. We're going to be on site. We're going to be with you right by your side. Yeah, always. We're hand holders. Yes. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. And when we do it, you turn out really great. Exactly. Because we got big hands. Yep. Big hands. So don't forget to subscribe. Check all that out. And we do have our YouTube site and Dollar Training Club. Mm-hmm. If you're watching this on the article, check those out because there's a lot of great stuff. And Dollar Training Club is named after the dollar that it cost. The dollar that it cost. to do most of our training. Some of our trainings are a couple dollars. Yeah. We do have one on there that's very serious. Took us a long time to put together. That one's like 27, but 99% of them are in the $2 range. And look, why do you want to spend $1,600 doing sexual harassment training for 10 employees when you can do it for $10? Right. Exactly. All right. So we'll see you next time. See ya.